Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. Welcome to our 302nd installment in the Torah portion of the week. We are holding by Parshat Vaera. Parshat Vaera, again, all about Avraham Avinu, talking about visiting sick, hospitality to strangers, promise he's going to have a son, right? God's love for Abraham. Abraham intercedes for Sodom. You got Sodom being destroyed. The whole thing what happened with Lot, right? Then Lot gets saved, etc. And then Lot's daughters. We got the Akedah. I mean, got a lot of things in this parsha, right? The Torah says, chapter 20, verse 7. The Torah says, but now return the man's wife. If he is a prophet, he will pray for you, and you will live. But if you don't return her, be aware, you shall surely die, and all that is yours. So Abraham, Sarah go to Gerar. Sarah's abducted by Avimelech. God comes to him in a dream, and God tells him that don't touch him, right? Sorry, don't touch her. He's a prophet. Don't mess with Avram, right? So says Mori Rebbe Arav Moshe should be well. Brings down Chochmah V'das, and it brings down a Mishnah. It's a Mishnah Baba Kama. 92.8, anyone wants to look it up. Then when it causes his friend pain, you need to ask for mechila, right? You did something wrong against them, you have to ask them for atonement, right? For that they should grant you atonement. So says the language of the Rambam, laws of repentance, you need to, before Yom Kippur, ask your friend, he should be mochel you. He should forgive you. To grant you atonement. He says you have to, go up to him. You have to appease him. But he says not just that. Not just asking for forgiveness over here. What do I see from this verse? Verse tells me, not only that, not only you have to ask that he should forgive you, you should ask him, he has to pray for you. Right? Pray for him. Unbelievable thing. Yeah. So what does that mean exactly? It says, when a person sins to the Creator, what's the Iker Vidui? What's the Iker confession? Iker confession is Avav Anachnu Chatan. Right? That we've sinned. We have to admit we've sinned, right? That's the whole point. That's the whole point of confession. Everything else is extra, but you have to admit you did something wrong. You have to admit you've sinned. Right? Not only that, if a person embarrassed somebody, scoffed at him, made fun of him, and he has charata. Charata means he has remorse, part of the repentance process. He's got remorse. You have to ask him for forgiveness. And you have to understand. You have to appease them and say you did something wrong. Right? That they should forgive you. Not only that he himself should pray to Kodesh Baruch Hu. They should pray to God for his sake. Right? Unbelievable. Not only did he cause them pain, should pray for him. Should pray for him to understand that you sin in front of God. Right? You cause the person damage. Not enough to just ask for forgiveness. For forgiveness, you got to pray for them. He said, and that is the halacha. That's the halacha over here. You have to ask for forgiveness. And you have to pray for him. He says, I'll tell you what I heard. He heard from Rabbi Eliezer Dessler. Heard from famous Rav Dessler. A blessed memory. So he said, you got to be careful what you ask for here. Right? What you desire. Right now, sometimes you ask for mechila. Sometimes you ask that someone should forgive you. And that brings up a lot of bad memories. Brings up a lot of bad memories. Because now he's reliving the whole thing again. Even though he's asking for forgiveness. Right? That's going to cause him more pain. And that could add on to the sin. Right? So he's saying you got to be careful. Right? 100% you got to be careful over here. Because even if you ask him for forgiveness, he knows what you did. You know what you did. But what's the bottom line over here? Bottom line is, it might cause him more pain. So let's analyze over here. Very interesting thing. Rabbi here says, you sinned against someone else. You caused them damage. 100% you caused them damage. You ask them for forgiveness. Now, if it's between man and man, a sin between man and man, you got to ask him for forgiveness. You go through 20, 50, 100 Yom Kippurs, doesn't help if they don't forgive you. Well, you never ask. You never ask for forgiveness. But over here, you got to appease them. Okay, Rambam brings that down. Others bring that down, right? Well, about repentance. But he's saying something else. Then for sure you have to ask the person for forgiveness. And what's the whole point? The whole point of confession, you have to have remorse. You have to have regret. But you have to say, Avala nachnu chatanu, but we've sinned. That's part of confession. That's the main part of confession. Admitting you've done something wrong. Okay. Well, he says another thing. Not only do you recognize you did something wrong, now you're going to pray for the person. Right? Now you're going to pray for them. Right? Why? Because you're proving you caused them damage by asking them for forgiveness. You're showing remorse. You're showing it that way. But now you're going to go further. Now you're going to go further. You have to ask them to pray for him. The God should pray for him. Or you should pray to God for him. It's pretty incredulous. Okay. You feel bad for what you did. Maybe you didn't like the person. Maybe, I don't know. Could be any number of things. So you got to ask them for forgiveness. You got to really mean it. Okay. But I have to pray for them. Look what you did. You caused them damage. You admitted you've sinned. Don't you want the best for this person? You got to pray for them. That's what we learn out over here. That's what we learn out. Others say a similar thing. You ask someone for forgiveness, you got to pray to them. Pray not to them, you got to pray for them. Pretty incredulous. But then that makes sense. You want to show you didn't mean what you did. You want to show that to the best of their benefits. You don't want to just leave it and say, okay, I forgive you, and you go home. It's deep down. You got to pray for them. You got to pray for the best for them. Because you cause them damage. Well, this is the second thing. So the second thing, in the name of Dessler. Dessler said, you ask someone for forgiveness. Right? Different than opinion where you should tell them what you did or not, because if you tell them what you did, they may not want to forgive you. It may cause more damage. Rav Dessler said you got to be careful. Because even asking for forgiveness, what could happen? You make them feel worse. Because it conjures up bad memories of what you did. Okay? We're not perfect by any stretch. Okay? But if you ask forgiveness for someone and you did something wrong, whether it's more egregious, less egregious, you have to take what Rav Dessler over here says. You have to take it to heart. Because even if I ask them for forgiveness, even if you don't, you know what you did, they know what you did, you just don't say it. What happens at the end of the day? You're bringing up bad memories. You're helping them relive what they went through. Again, something more major, less major, it doesn't matter. It's not even the point. Not even the point. What'd you do over here? You potentially made it worse. But don't you have to appease them? It's catch-22. I got an obligation to appease them. I got an obligation to make it right. I have to go still through Yom Kippur. It's all true. But you have to remember, you have to be sensitive. Because over here, what can happen, you can ask for forgiveness, you can do it in all the right ways. Says Rav Dessler, you got to be careful. Because if I'm not careful, I'm going to make it worse. You will definitely make it worse. But how do you get forgiveness if you don't appease them? Right? It's a very hard thing. Got to appease them. But you got to be careful how you do it. Right? Because the reality is, it can make it worse. You still have an obligation to do it. So you got two things here. One is, you cause someone damage, you got to pray for them. Pray for their goodness, pray for their health, pray for livelihood. That shows you really have charata, that you really have remorse, and you really have regret. But the second thing is, I got to be careful what I say and how I ask for forgiveness. Because if I do it in a way that's going to cause them to feel worse, then you got a real problem. Then you got a real problem. You can say, but maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I'll come to this. Maybe we don't, we can seriously make a mistake. No, you still have to appease them. You still have to try and appease them. But he's saying you got to think, you got to be careful. You got to be careful with people's feelings. Can't say, wow, just appease them and that's it. You got to think. What are the possible ramifications of how I say it, when I say it? First, I'm going to say, listen, going in front of them is hard enough. Without saying anything, just hard enough. Okay. But you still have to have a sensitivity. You still got to be careful. And if you're not careful, it can make it worse. That's what Dessler says. This is an important lesson. Very, very important lesson. To really show you have charata, you have remorse, that you have regret, you caused someone damage, show it by praying for them. Not just asking for forgiveness. That you got to do also. And go through the proper channels of repentance. But you want to show it? You really want to show it? You have to pray for them. You have to look out for their best interests. It might be hard. But you're the one who caused the damage. You want to fix it. You want to fix it to the best of your ability. That's your obligation. Says Rav Dessler, okay? Still got to be careful how you do it. Because if you're not careful how you did it, cause other damage. And the whole point over here is to get atonement. So you see, atonement's not so simple. Appeasing, not so simple. But we got to do it anyway. And we got to do it to the best of our ability. Because if we don't appease them, for this sin, Yom Kippur doesn't help. For this sin, fasting doesn't help. So you give it an opportunity to get it back. To wipe the slate clean, so to speak. Right? And you're showing that by praying for them. And that is part of this whole repentance process. So I remind everyone, I have 2 Q&As, right? Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock Israel time. I have Duties of the Heart every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. And that we're going to the gate of self-accounting. Pirkei Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers, every Saturday, 2 o'clock Eastern time, 9 o'clock Israel time. Sunday, Book of Leviticus, chapter 17. That's 9 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock Israel time. I also have conversion classes. Anyone interested in any of this, find me on Facebook at Michael Chaim Kaufman. Beyond Orthodox Conversion to Judaism, orthodoxconversion.com. Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism on YouTube. There I got videos on Torah Portion of the Week. Pirkei Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers, Q&As, Book of Leviticus, controversial issues. You want to send me an email? RabbiChaimKaufman@gmail.com. RBBIChaimKoffman@gmail.com.